Good evening and welcome back to Irons United's YouTube channel. We have massive news that's broke all day today. In actual fact, it's probably been broken for about a week. We have known, everyone has known, but Bilic has gone. Bilic has officially left our club. It's bittersweet. I don't know how I feel, but we're just doing a Gift of the Gab tonight. We're going to just let loose and give off all our opinions on what's been happening at our club this week. I'm joined by Matt, Dan and Luke. So guys, today we got the news that we all knew, that every single West Ham fan knew. Slaven Bilic has gone, either mutual agreement or he's probably just been sacked. And yeah, over to you, Matt. First feelings and thoughts towards it.
It needed to be done, but I don't know, is it his fault? Like, Slaven had to go because, I don't know, the tactics weren't there. But did he really get backed in the summer? Like that quote that came out this morning from the board? We backed him in the summer. Well, they didn't back him because he needed £3 million by Carvalho and they didn't pay it.
Yeah.
So did they really back him?
He's being polite. He's got to find himself another job at some point, and he poor sod, you know.
It's a valid point, though, Matt. Like a lot of people go on about saying how he's been backed left, right, and centre. Not a lot of people, but the board in particular. And they put out that statement today, and I mean they're talking. And we'll go into this in a minute about who they're looking at next. But I mean, look, was he backed enough? 2.5 years at the club, an unforgettable last season at the Bowling Ground, to be with big transitional moves to the London Stadium. What's your opinion?
I missed a bit of that. So what do you say? Well, my Skype just froze. As if you were asking the question. What do you say?
What's your opinion on the whole situation with the? What do you think he was backed?
To be honest with you, after a little while, it became like the family dog you don't want to put down, but eventually you've got to, because it was the inevitable. Was I think it would, to me, it got to a point where I was waiting for the home games for us to lose and then turn up for the away games, because it was, you know, I think barring the Swansea and the Spurs games and whatever, you sort of think, oh well, if he can win a few the next couple of games, he'll be all right. And then we go back home again, and it's the same old story, a poor performance and a poor result and whatever. I don't think he was backed at all. I think a number of times Sullivan's had public interviews with people in the press and has just thrown Bilic under the bus. For example, the interview with Gary Neville a few weeks back when you're saying I don't think he even knows his first 11. Well, it's like, if that was me hearing that, I'd be like, cheers mate, nice one, whatever bit of advice have you got for me. The statement released today is an absolute joke. There's two paragraphs in there particularly which just made me burst out laughing, and it was it was a pathetic line. It was like, we backed him in the summer with signings, and it's like, I don't know what they consider to be good signings, and signings that are adequate at the best standard that you want for the Premier League, because you're not dealing with a team now that is like the old days would be going, you know, trying to stave off relegation year after year and whatever. You're dealing with a club that they're saying themselves they want to put in the Champions League. After the first few years, they want to take over and whatever. Within the first few years of getting to the new stadium, and you're you know, there's no Carvalho, there's no marquee signing when you first move in there. But I mean, me personally, I mean that team as it is good enough for top 8, in my opinion.
Well, that's
Well,
yeah, I mean, we'll come on to the I suppose the team kind of selections and all that kind of stuff in a minute. But Dan, did you see his interview when he left the ground? I know Sky Sports managed to catch him. Yeah. What was your opinion on that interview? Was that a Slaven just being very humble, or was that a Slaven going, listen, I need to be respectful for the first couple of weeks because I've got some information I'm going to give to use?
I don't know. We could read into it both ways. I think a lot of it is he is a gent anyway.
Yeah.
He's always been very honest. I don't think we can ever take that away from him. It got to a point where a change was needed at the club. He had to go. Sadly for him, you know, it's not just been a job for him. You know, he come out and said this was more than a job. He obviously loves the club. He's being very humble and polite at the moment. I've already touched upon it. He's got to find himself another job at the end of the day. Maybe when he's in another job, maybe when the dust settles for him a little bit, he might come out and tell us the truth. But I don't think we'll ever really know, boys. I really don't. He was treated like shit. I've done with it. You know, it's not good enough. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be judged on his performances. Even from us, we all sit here week in, week out, and we say, not good enough this week. We tried this week. It's not good enough. We lost again. And, you know, his record over the last, you know, year and a half has been awful. And he had to go. But he hasn't been helped.
Yeah.
He has not been helped in the slightest, in my opinion.
So many valid points we're talking about here, Dan. Something that not Dan, sorry, Matt, when we're talking about Bilic's record, I mean, he came into West Ham as what, the 4th or 5th choice manager.
He wasn't anywhere high up the list.
Yeah, so there was a fallback option, which is something I'm worried about, is because apparently the rumours are that we've already been knocked back about 10 plus times this time. But
I saw a tweet earlier.
Yeah, when you're thinking about Slaven Bilic in the first season, what was it that worked compared to what's not worked over the past couple of seasons? I don't know if we can continue to blame the stadium, but when it comes to formation tactics, is it
Payet
up top?
That was it.
Yeah.
It was Payet. He had that player come in, and no one in the Premier League knew how to play him. I mean, the stat last season, Payet left in January, and he was still created the most chances for us last season. That's mad. He was there for half the season.
I think like that, coupled with the fact it was the last season, Bilic is almost he's a self-proclaimed fan, isn't he? So he wanted to make sure it was special. I think everybody's performances were sort of amped as well. But yeah,
I mean, Noble had the best season he's ever had. I don't think he'll ever get that high again. I think Noble got I think he almost hit double figures in goals, which is ridiculous for Noble.
Yeah,
he will never get that high again.
No,
the defence, I mean, even then though, the defence was never that good. I remember plenty of times we were just outscoring other teams.
Yeah. So in actual fact, Bilic's is most positive signing. Payet became his most negative situation happening at the club. And look, over to yourself, having a player of Payet's calibre, standard, coming to a team like West Ham, we need to take advantage. We need to progress as a team. The board didn't back Bilic, and we managed to sign 12 or 13 squad players to cover the Europa League. Your name's Dimitri Payet. You're getting recognised. Are you going to get pissed off or not? Of course you are.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, massively. I think it's a combination of things. I think it's probably half of him is probably getting agents talking in his ear, saying so and so's interested in you. You have a good European Championships. You know, you'll have the likes of Real Madrid calling for Juventus, whoever you want to, spark up PSG as well. You keep playing well, you go to them. So there's that part of him that's probably thinking, well, unless we really progress, I am off. Don't matter where I go, I am off. But then you see like they're signing. You thinking Marquis signing, brilliant, fantastic. But then you either don't put in the right bids for those players, or those players turn you down. And then of course there's a combination of things behind the scenes. I mean, you got that season was at the Bowling was the last season I've seen a cohesive West Ham unit. And I think there's something clicked. I don't know what. I don't think it's just Payet. I think Payet was a massive reason why we had such a good season at Bowling the last season round. I think but genuinely, that team was fantastic. Yeah. It was just Payet made it extra special. So we got the free kicks, we had the set pieces, we had all the rest of it. It was intertwined. But if you're talking generally, I think something clicked or didn't click when we moved stadiums. I think what happened was that. Obviously, it's a bigger pitch, bigger stadium, bigger expectations and whatever. Maybe he did, having a player of Payet's calibre, did up the standard of the players, especially when he was on it. But I think that there's something bigger, deep within the club that you don't just move stadiums. The Arsenal moved stadiums. Okay, they're a much better team than us. They were achieving a lot better than us and whatever. They're a totally different ball game compared to Arsenal. But you have to have it in your mind, thinking we're moving to this ground. We didn't. It wasn't like a season. Okay, we're moving next year, guys. Let's make this quickly. Let's make this season great and go. We had a good few years to, get ourselves prepared to move. The process of even getting the stadium took a while to get in the first place. So it wasn't an overnight decision. It was a long, prolonged thing to get ready for. And either we just bottled it. We had no preparation. Like we thought it was nowhere near going to be as horrendous because it ain't just a thing on the pitch. The problem's ain't just on the pitch regarding the stadium. You walk around, it's one of the most unorganised places to go and watch your football. For example, they've decided to put. This is a little thing. I went to get a beer at half time at the Liverpool game, and they decided to put a little beer stall right in the middle where people were walking. So it was a complete and utter chaos trying to get a beer. Yeah. And it's one of a number of things that you go around the stadium, you think it's just it's unorganised, no one has a clue what they're doing, the stewards are out of order. Everything about that stadium from that first game we moved there to the Bournemouth game has just gone completely downhill. Yeah. And if the performance was better, people would be taking it because they were winning. If the performances on the pitch were better, it would make everything else a bit more comfortable. You'd be able to get past it maybe more But genuinely, everything's kind of gone downhill. So it's the combination of management, team, and the stadium itself. So I don't know. I'm not just going to blame Payet for all that stuff.
I want to make a point about Payet just before we move on. I want to make a point about Payet, and it's just that obviously a lot of West Ham fans we've all given him shit. He went about it the wrong way, but would we be sitting here thinking differently? And this is something I've always thought. Right, had the board actually come up with the promises that they fucking made, would Payet have wanted to leave?
No,
if we'd have made that marquee signing, if we'd have bought Lacazette in, like they were fucking saying, would have Payet wanted to leave? No, of course he wouldn't. He would have a world-class striker up front.
Exactly.
If we'd have bought in the centre-backs, if we'd have bought in the midfielders that they were promising, if they'd have spent that 150 million and all this crap they were fucking promising us when we went to get our season ticket, would Payet have left? No, he fucking wouldn't.
No way.
And he wouldn't have had to go in the fashion that he did. This is what annoys me. It all comes back to the board. The stadium's a fucking mess. Well, the board moved us there. The board are the ones that organised it all. Arguably our best player that we fucking had ever in my lifetime. The only other guy I can think of, Di Canio, in my lifetime, that has lit up the football pitch like that, and he just fucks off in that fashion. It's all the ball's fault because lies, more lies on top of lies. It's just
the only thing regarding that is I don't know how true it is, but I did read a report a little while ago. Just Payet was saying, why exactly did you leave West Ham? And he said, I've done it not just at West Ham, I've done it at other clubs as well. I've done it before I can't remember who it was, at Lille, I think it might have been before he went to Marseille, and he was saying, when I don't get what I want, which could be down to promises made by the board saying we're going to bring in a striker for you, i.e. the like of Hernandez when he's on form or whatever, had the promises come through, he might not have done that. Obviously, taking along the line didn't go right where he thought it was going, so he decided to kick up a fuss, throw his toys at the pram and do whatever. But I don't know if he's endearing himself to the Marseille fans or if it's just because you didn't get a move to a Real Madrid or a PSG, you're saying this now. But apparently he and the agent that brought him through to West Ham said that if you go to West Ham for a year or a year and a half, we're going to bring you back because Marseille got new owners and went, okay, we'll pay the money back. That's why we got him on a £10 million deal.
Yeah, but I tell you what, guys, if you get Payet on that deal, but you bring in the quality of players to back it up, there's no way he's going back to Marseille. Like what Dan said, I honestly believe that if we bring in that quality marquee signing that the board promised us, players like Payet would not want to leave, and other players wouldn't have spoken out or whatever, and players wouldn't be knocking us back. You get the momentum of the players coming in, and then you start to get better players coming in, better standard of players coming in, etc. And that's just the way. Yeah.
If the board are quick enough to promise us stuff, they're going to be quick enough to promise the players stuff. And trust me, they're going to treat the players like shit the same way they do us. Because all them players do is line their pockets the same way we do.
Let's move on
that's what makes me laugh. If we have a better calibre of player on the pitch, more people are going to spend fucking money. They haven't cottoned on to that one. Yeah. They could be making even more fucking money, the greedy bastards. But brain dead, aren't they?
Merchandise, mate. Merchandise. That's what they should do. They need fucking aim for that shit. Anyway, Matt, we've talked about some of Bilic signings. Are they the Bilic signings? Are they the board signings? Do you honestly believe that Bilic had the final say in all of the signings that he made in his 2.5 years at the club?
2.5 years. I reckon he had his chance last summer. I reckon this summer's probably weren't his signings. I think he tried last summer, and we saw we got crap like fucking Gökhan Toure and Havan Neuweit.
Yeah. And
they were just awful. And I think they were Bilic's signings. I mean, people talk about Payet, but Payet wasn't a Bilic signing because Payet joined the club before Bilic did. I don't know who made that signing.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've heard differently.
Yeah. I thought that was a Bilic signing, was it not?
Yeah, I think he said I'm going to come.
He signed before Bilic did.
Yeah,
but I think Bilic was on the line of going, if he doesn't sign, I'm not coming. That's my main player. If you don't get him for me, then that's your promise broken. That's what I heard. It was Bilic and the package deal at the time.
I think one of the points I'm trying to make is when you look at the board's presence on social media. So we talked about this last week in one of the previews or reviews. We talk about comments that were made the day after that amazing game. Thanks for those memories, that last game that no one will ever forget, Bilic, against Manchester United. But the comments that were made by David Sullivan the next day, and then we consistently seeing announcements made from the board or their family members, and one in particular will be Zaza. So for me, when they're announcing it before the club is announcing it, and they're at the owner's house, for me it's a case of, I mean, really, is he signing these players? don't these negotiations normally take place at the club? Don't these negotiations normally take place when the manager's present? Like, I get it's all about the wheeling and dealing and the financial back, etc. But it comes to the stage where they're putting the evidence out there for me, and it just adds up to being, are they Bilic signings or not? Because yeah, I do agree that he brought in players like Gokhan, but you know what? He's a manager. He's going to make mistakes. Every single manager brings in players that aren't that great. But we just don't know at the end of the day how many of those signings were actually Bilic's and the board's. But if we move on, because we've gone for a big rant on that one.
Can I just, before you move on there, I think you can tell their board signings based on the amount of money being spent.
No,
I think a manager knows how much players are worth in a market, right? And that board are still trying to buy players like you could 10 years ago. They seem to think that 10 million gets you a world-class player. It doesn't in today's market. Hernandez is a fucking steal at 16 million. Really, in the market, based on what Hernandez has done in his career, he's a £30 million player. Yeah. That's an absolute steal. That's the value of players now, and I think managers understand that. I think Bilic understands that, but the board don't. I guarantee Bilic probably sat there last summer when we were, there was big talk we were going to bring in Lacazette, for 40 odd million or whatever. I guarantee Bilic was just like, pay the money, and then they're sitting there going, oh, what about 38? Oh, what about 38 and a half? And it's always that little bit of money in it.
I guarantee, I'm not being funny, I guarantee it's something that doesn't get brought up very often, but I guarantee, as Karen Brady is Alan Sugar's right hand man, I guarantee he's probably going to look, you ain't got to spend that much money. Look at what Spurs are doing. Bought Dele Alli for 5 million and all this sort of stuff, and they're not paid any more than about 30 million for Sissoko when he comes to Newcastle. And they're thinking, that's what we want to do. We can do that. We can buy little, sell big, that kind of thing. And that
happens once in a blue moon, doesn't it, Luke?
Exactly. And we ain't got the technical news they've got. So we got the management they've got. So
yeah. Well, I'll tell you something. We've talked about quite a lot of the negatives before we say officially goodbye to our Slaven Bilic, who wears his heart on his sleeve. And do you know what a gentleman the guy is. I've met him personally a few times, and he makes the effort with the fans. He's always made the effort for the fans. But just to quickly round it up and just do this in a quick one, what's your best memory? And I've got a suspicion it's probably all going to be the same. What's the best game under Bilic, or your favourite memory of Slaven Bilic? Matt.
Well, go on, Matt. Go on.
I say everyone's going to say it was the 3-2 against Man United. Yeah. Just that picture, like at the final whistle. I saw it again today. Is the picture from the sideline, and you can see the score on the scoreboard in the background. And he's literally crying, standing there crying.
Mine weren't actually. Mine actually. I can't pick one moment. I think it's just I've grown up in West Ham, never beating the top teams like the Arsenal, the Chelsea, the Liverpools, right? And that season, we'd done Liverpool 3 times, in the cup as well, included. We'd done Chelsea at home, almost beat them as well, away from home. We'd done Arsenal on the first day of the season, and I know Arsenal ain't very good at the first day of the season, but we beat them, and I'm happy for that. There were so many games in that against the top teams that I'm always used to going, how many are we going to lose this by? Like I've been doing this season and last season. That I want to thank him for that. I want to thank him for the whole season in general. It was nice the moments where he's jumping up with the coaches and having a great celebration, the tears and everything. But I don't think, personally for me, I can't pick out one moment. I think just that I just loved it. I've even got the DVD at home of the last season of the bowling. I can't watch it yet because it's too heartbreaking to see how good we were.
I've got 2. I've got 2. Like, well, you could say 3, but I think everybody loves that last game. So I want to try and pick 2 that. It wasn't not the season as a whole. It was fucking mental, right? So we've all followed West Ham all our lives, haven't we, lads? How many times can we all say we've had a season like that? We've actually enjoyed, even when we fucking lost, we enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? The 3-3 against Arsenal, how unbelievable was that game? Like, even when it didn't quite go our way, we ain't been able to sit there and say we enjoyed it like that. But I did City away when we done City away.
That was amazing.
Moses goal, he absolutely cannoned it.
Was that the only goal he scored?
It was just.
It was good enough.
It was just a quality season. It was just a quality season, and it was just a masterstroke from 2 men that absolutely loved it. Noble had the best season of his life. I think Payet was on form, and Bilic, because he had a point to prove, and he just loved the club.
I'm about to cry. Oh my god.
But it
And
is.
Leicester,
But it's
and the
just.
best thing is Leicester beat Spurs to the league. How good is that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Look at us all smiling. Look at us all smiling. It doesn't happen very
And I
often.
hope we do this. We're on drugs.
One of my biggest, obviously, you can't take away that last game ever, but just being so close and just so close to the Champions League. Just do you know what? Like, was it 3 or 4 games before the end of the season?
Yeah.
Just having that feeling of going, we are 2 wins away from the Champions League. That feeling is something that the closest that we ever had was the year we finished 5th. But that wasn't the Champions League. That was nearly finishing 5th or 4th to get into the UEFA Cup at the time. But that season we're talking about in general, having 2 or 3 games to go and being 1 victory away. If we'd have beaten Swansea, we would have been in, or beaten Stoke. Or no, probably Swansea at the time I think it was, and we would have been in the Champions League. To have that feeling was amazing. So do you know what, Slav? Thanks for some of the memories. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for you. For me, I passed the blame elsewhere, but it was time to go, and it's happened. So we're moving on to who we are 99.9% sure is coming in to this club, a manager that we really particularly don't want. I'm going to name it, and I'm going to put a picture right on the screen there, and it's David Moyes.
That's all the faces now go down from having 2 seconds ago.
Matt, give me your... Just, I don't know, guys... Someone jump in and just tell me what...
I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll start
go
it off. I'll start it off. Right. Probably for me, the most underwhelming appointment you can get, apart from maybe Sam Allardyce, because that would be like shooting ourselves in the foot with regards to ego. What he done at Everton, no one can take away from him. He had a lot of time there for stability and all the rest of it. Champions League, whatever you want to call it. Well done for Everton, well done, fair enough. Take nothing away from you. But for me, he got found out at United. And I think he was given the opportunity there. I know it's massive to take over from Ferguson. It's one of the hardest jobs to do in football. But you got an opportunity there to literally walk in to an already winning team and go, I'm just going to carry it on. Whatever it was, I'm going to take over. I'm not Fergie, but I'm going to try and instill whatever he had here and keep it going. The reports that you get is that basically he went, right, it's my club now. I'm going to do exactly what I've done at Everton and put it into Man United. Yeah. And I'm going to bring all my coaching staff that have got a clue how to run a top title-winning club who are in the Champions League every year. And it all went downhill for him. You had reports of top players like Ferdinand coming out saying we had no clue what to do on the training ground and in the games as well. So the Man United gag didn't work out for him. He then goes to Sociedad, does hardly anything there. He then goes to Sunderland, and before he'd even joined Sunderland, the press are going, why didn't you take the job 6 months ago and try and save the relegation yourself? And he went, well, I thought they were doomed. And then said nothing positive regarding his actual appointment after that. And surprise, surprise, for that whole season, we've had hard seasons. I don't know what Sunderland fans were going through that year, because they were just staring down the barrel of 4-0 defeats.
Listen, I was at the Sunderland game. I was at the Sunderland game when the fans were... the one where we conceded in the last minute, and the fans were just hating on him big style. They hated Moyes. They didn't want him, and they didn't look like a great team. But then again, they came across a West Ham that were giving, very giving on their day. So yeah, it's Matt. What's your thoughts?
I mean, the only thing I would say in defence to him at Sunderland was that he came in after the summer window and was promised money in January. They said, if you can get us to January, we'll give you money to buy players, and he brought in 3 guys on a free from Everton, and that's all they gave him. It's the same reason Allardyce walked away, is because they wouldn't give him any money. So, yeah, are they going to give him money in January? Are they actually going to back him to buy some players in January?
Are they?
Don't be silly.
Don't be silly. Yeah.
Like, what I read today,
same thing
it's
I've
not a
read.
6-month contract; it's a 2.5-year contract.
Yeah. Can I make
with the option to cancel it after 6 months?
Do you know what? They're just pulling the wool over our eyes. They ain't going to cancel that contract. Moyes is our manager. If he signs tomorrow, he's going to be our manager at least for the next 2 years. Maybe not the half, but maybe the next 2 years. They ain't going to back him in the window in January, because my opinion is he's a yes man. So he's going to come in and do what the board are going to tell him to do. They're going to try and say, you've got the squad, you've got the players there, so go and coach them and go and show us what you previously did when you were at Everton. We ain't giving you money. End of. Because we all know what they want the money for. We all know what the board are doing. We all know that they're going to try and buy the stadium. We're not stupid. We're not that stupid. They want that stadium. They're probably going to get that stadium. They're probably going to change it into a football stadium, and then they're probably going to sell and make all their millions. But the thing is, when we're getting a manager who has, we had this discussion. Dan, I'll maybe pass it over to you just now, because was it yourself was talking about the stats of his previous stats or something? He's coming in off of what? How many relegations or?
He's always coming off the bat. But the most famous thing he did in Sociedad was eat a bag of crisps for the fans. Yeah. So, fucking tells you how good he was out in Spain. Then in Sunderland he couldn't. I don't think any fucking manager could have kept them up. To be fair to him, in his defence, but they're woeful. But yeah, he's got a worse record than Bilic has. But yeah, and I think it proves what a yes man he is. I don't know. It's all rumour mill at the moment. But look at some of the names that have rejected us. And you can tell none of them are going to be yes men.
Oh,
you got Moyes at the bottom who's like, and then you got Moyes who's at the bottom and he's just like, I need a fucking job. Yes, please. Yes, please. I'll take that. So he's going to come in.
He said that.
Before we went live, I said to all of you, I made an interesting point about momentum. Right now, this is a team that is fucking low on morale and it has no momentum, and we're bringing in a manager that has no momentum because his last team he managed just got relegated, and we're trying to save ourselves from relegation. That does not breathe confidence into me or any of you guys. And is it really surprising on Twitter and Facebook and all these social media sites that all the West Ham fans are sitting there going, David Gold, David Sullivan, Karen Brady, you clowns, are you fucking mad? Is it any surprise that they're all sitting there losing their fucking marbles?
The worst bit, they did this before because they brought in Grant, and Grant off the
exactly. I was going to say that. Yeah,
he got Portsmouth relegated, came in and got us relegated.
Yeah.
To this day, he's the only manager in Premier League history that's had back-to-back relegations, and now we're going to do it again. Bring David Moyes in and do it.
Yeah. The other thing I just want to point out as well is that we're all saying about how well he did at Everton. Football has moved on a long fucking way since he qualified for the Champions League with Everton. Let me just say that. You know, we didn't have the money in the Premier League. You know, would he have done that job at Everton with the money they got now? Look how much money they spent in the summer. Koeman is a far better manager than him, and he can get the job done.
Well, apparently he turned us down.
Yeah, well, it says a lot then, doesn't it? That says a lot.
Ancelotti turned us down, Koeman turned us down, Dyche turned us down, and Paulo Sousa turned us down before they went to David Moyes.
Listen, if those names come out to be true and they have turned us down, again, I don't really know if they have, to be honest, because I don't know what the board have put in front of them. They've probably turned us down based upon the fact that they want to know how much money they're going to have to spend to change the team, and the board have turned around and gone, two pennies and a dildo. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Like yeah. And the managers are all going to turn around and go, okay. And then you've got Moyes on TV talking to Richard Keys and Andy Gray, and they're saying, "Are you interested?" And he's going, "Well, of course I'm interested." And well, I don't even need to put the accent on. I've got the accent, so of course I'm interested because I'm desperate for a job. So please give me a job, and I'm going to fly myself over to London to get the job. So. For me, it's like it's a no-brainer for the board to get a yes man in who they aren't going to get back with money. Now, if we try and pull some positives from this, if he does come in, I mentioned it to you guys before we started. Is it just change that we need that can make the difference in our season, Matt?
He needs to sort something out defensively, and apparently he's bringing Stuart Pearce. So hopefully he's going to sort the defence out.
Psycho.
Because on paper, that team is not a relegation team, but there's no shape, there's no cohesion. Like we can't. You're supposed to build from back and go forward, but we've got nothing at the back. You know, if you gave that back four, if we go for Zabaleta, Reed, Ogbonna, Creswell, and a Joe Hart, I'm pretty sure any team from 8th down would take that back four or back 5. But you know, they just. Every time we play a big team, they cannot defend to save their lives.
Not Ogbonna for me, to be honest. I'm sorry. I genuinely think he gives away fucking goals left, right, and centre. So, someone's on a phone. There he is.
Yeah.
Oh, we've lost.
There we go.
He's gone.
Oh, he's back. He's back. He's back.
No. All right, maybe not Ogbonna, but the other 3, any other team would take it.
Yeah,
like,
they would.
Thing with you just said they're psycho, right? I'm pretty sure we gave Dix the same name when he played for us. I mean, when he first come, you kind of thought, well, hold on, defence ain't going to be able to sit down quietly because Dix is running the show alongside Bilic, and then it appears within the space of a year and a half, Bilic is picking cones up and bibs. and he's basically a glorified ball boy. So
that's depressing. I heard that as well. Like Bilic didn't let him do anything.
No,
like, he came in and Bilic was like, "Oh, just go and put the cones out."
Yeah, because you've got someone of that ilk coming in. But the main thing with me is if you're talking about changing systems, changing emphasis, and whatever. Yeah, I went to go with my old man at the weekend, and he said to me exactly the same thing. I totally agreed with him. Is that we're still trying. We're in a desperate situation regarding position-wise in the league and whatever, and we're still trying to put in pretty football and attractive football, and we're already putting tackles in. So we're standing off attacking players, and we're practically waiting for them to shoot, just so the goalkeeper can save it and whatever. We don't put in tackles anymore. I know you can't put in proper tackles. It's football has changed. You can't really do that nowadays like you maybe want to. But you look at a team like Burnley, who are way above us. Their managers, getting put on a massive pedestal in a minute, and all they are about is genuinely about hard, gritty determination. And we're just spending most games just trying to play this sort of football where we're trying neat and tidy football, a couple of long balls here and there, but all the while it's just play across the back four. And if a team goes against us and presses us, we shit ourselves. We're like headless chickens.
I'm in no way going to say we have players the same ability as Man City right now, right? But
you are.
No. I'm not going to compare players, but I obviously, I watch all of the Premier League, and so City are a particular team that I will sit down and watch, and especially this season. And everybody's been talking about how good they are going forward, right? And you were just saying the game's changed. You can't put in tackles like you used to. Has anyone seen how City close the ball down at the moment? They don't even need to put a tackle in. They put the fear of fucking God in the player because they all close the ball down. It's like a predator mentality. They lose the ball, and then 2 or 3 of them are on the back straight away. That energy. The biggest problem we've got is the training has been so fucking shit that none of them got any lungs on them. They all run around for 10 minutes. They're fucked. Did you see them against Liverpool? Yeah. There was a good 20 minutes in that game, and that was it. They were bollocks for the rest of the game. They didn't know what they were doing. They were like, fuck me, am I a professional athlete or am I an OAP? It was awful at times. It was so bad. And that's what you need. We need good defensive shape, and we need to start closing the ball down. Yeah. Look at some of the newly promoted teams. Brighton, for fuck's sake, throwing themselves at it. They're putting their life on the line. They did it against us. They did it again at the weekend. Like quality defending. That's what you want to see. You don't need to be rash anymore. Because we can't. Contact is not in the game like it used to. It's all well and good saying someone like a PSC and a Dix coming in. They used to kick people in row Z. You can't do that anymore. And you can't really have someone like that on the training ground saying, go through the man, just fucking have him, put the fear of God in him. Because you'll just get a red card these days. You've got to go about it smarter. And I just don't think that Moyes has got it in him. He ain't got them tactics in him. And I don't know about the coaching staff either. It's an awkward situation.
Before we came on, we said that maybe one of the biggest things we probably need if we're going to try and find some positives is change. And for me, I can't see with the current squad, maybe a motivation of a new manager coming in. The typical thing they always say is going to give us a bit of momentum. Like you said, he's got no momentum. But for me, the biggest change could be that he could maybe give youth a chance. And I don't know is that something that we see that whether it's Moyes or another manager coming in, is it something that can change our season and give us the motivation? Because I tell you what, if it was me coming in and what Dan had said, no motivation from previous clubs, looking at the squad that West Ham have got, which on paper is quality, looking at players that are desperate to get in, we as coaches, even though we're not there, would look and go, let's bring some youth up into that squad and challenge that first team. So Matt, thoughts on Moyes and youth? Do you think, or managers and youth, really, to be honest?
I mean, at this point, it really can't hurt to bring a couple of youth players up. You've got players down there. Obviously, everyone was talking about Martinez, who's 26 goals he's scored now for the under-23s.
Yeah,
along the lines of that.
He's already, I think, 11 or 13 goals he's already hit for the season.
Yeah.
And when we're not, all right, I use a little bit of form and Hannah's on a little bit of form, but no one's really banging in goals left, right, and centre. We've got no pace on the wings whatsoever, and you've got like Samuelson, Hank Sanovich, and Holland.
Yeah.
So you've got players there. Well, we've already seen like Rice come through this season, and all right, he got shipped off at Newcastle, but he's still around the squad and he's still playing.
Yeah.
It's integral for me, to be honest, Luke, that the next manager, whoever it is, probably Moyes, has to actually bring in that mix of youth to add that competitiveness with the first teamers that are there. Because, I mean, could Bilic manage the strong opinions of the players, the egos. I mean, if you look at it, I don't know if any of you guys seen it, but John Walters done an interview on BBC, and someone asked him the question about Arnautovic, and he basically slagged off Arnautovic. He said that when he's on it, he's on it. When he's off it, he's the worst player you have in your team. That's me misquoting him slightly, but he kind of meant that. But he really tore into Arnautovic as a professional footballer.
Said that.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. Yeah.
So, Luke, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Bilic is in here, regardless of last season as well. I think, especially over the last few months, he's lost his bottle. So I think, like I said a little while back, I think part of it was the owners were probably running the squad as well. They were telling him, we want certain players to play, we don't want him to play. It's run like a massive business, a shit business right now, but it's still run like a business. So you're talking, youth is still considered a risk take, especially in a top league like this. That it's like, we don't want to risk a kid's confidence or anything like that, which I personally think is bollocks. But that's just the way I look at it. The only reason why they wouldn't be coming in or not. You got people in the team like Sacco who have officially announced he doesn't want to be at the club anymore, and he's still coming on for Hernandez. When Hernandez, for me, actually tried pretty harder than he's ever tried all season against the Liverpool defence. But I think Bilic did struggle with egos, which made me laugh, to be fair, because when he first come to West Ham, he shipped out Amalfitano for apparently saying he's not going to go along with Bilic's wishes about training regimes and all the rest of it. I think in the end, I think he struggled with egos, but I just think he genuinely just went, I don't even want to take a chance of playing youth, because if it all goes wrong, it'll go wrong and they'll lose confidence. I'll get slugged off for playing youth rather than a full-fledged first team player. There's just a combination of things. I think just in the end, it was never going to happen. I lost hope for Martinez while Bilic was in charge. He's never going to get a game, especially all the others as well. So hopefully it does change with Moyes. If Moyes comes in, I'll back him. I'm not going to say against the guy. If he comes in, does really well, fair play to the bloke, whatever. I hope he proves me wrong. I can't see him being the great messiah that we need. I can't see him being the giver of time to youth. I hope he does. I hope someone in the club changes things around. I hope things change, because we need it to change, regardless of hoping we need it to change. I hope we see more youth, and I think Bilic did struggle with egos, but genuinely he's gone now, and hopefully the new one can change all that and hopefully put some more positivity into the team.
Dan, do you think that Moyes would struggle with the attitudes of the players? Do you think he's got the ability to deal with that?
Yeah, he's obviously he's been in management long enough.
Yeah.
Like on the subject of youth though, I think youth, we've got to bring. I think youth needs to be given a chance. The thing that youth is going to give us, right? There's a lot of players here that don't give a fuck at the moment. They're not trying. Youth have got to prove a point. They've got to prove a point they're good enough to play for the first team.
Definitely.
That's the sort of shit we need. A bit of fresh energy in there. And why not give a player like Martinez? Right, I read some bullshit thing about the reason we haven't given him a chance yet is because he needs to prove his fitness still. He's scored 26 goals in 23 games. What the fuck has he got to do? Like, I think he pretty much proved he can put the ball in the back of the net, which is something that not many of our players in the first team can do. So, just give him a fucking chance.
To be fair, I read somewhere that if we play him, they got to pay Valencia like fucking £2.5 million, and
that's
probably
what it is. That's probably what it is. He needs that for his new yacht, doesn't he? Like...
But I think the youth, one thing about it is they've got energy. Like,
exactly.
If you watch the other 23 games, they actually run around the pitch and they run for the game.
Yeah.
So even if you take like 3 or 4 players out and just chuck them in the first team squad, even if they're on the bench, in training they will be fucking moving about and spitting their asses about, and the other players are gonna be like, oh fucking hell. We need to
make a bit more effort here, because we got him up my arse like wanting to play football.
Like, I literally don't see like. I mean, Sacco come on against Liverpool. I don't remember him. He touched the ball in the corner once, and that's all I fucking remember him doing.
Like, I want to know why Sacco.
Could Martinez do than what Sacco did against Liverpool? That's what I don't get.
Yeah.
Like, what worse can he can't do any worse. Like, he literally couldn't do any worse.
I want to know why Sacco's still around the squad.
Well, see, to be honest,
shop window for me.
biggest,
Shop window.
Yeah, he'll get sold in January. He's only got 6 months. Well,
why did he not get sold in the summer? Why did he not get sold in the summer when he wanted to?
That was.
Obviously, they're not going to
replacement for him.
They're not going to relegate him to the under 23s because they're playing well at the minute, and that's just poison for that squad. But it is. But what the fuck is he still doing around the first team?
Do you know you know what the youth team are probably going? You know, you lot can fuck off. We're up here in the under-23s. We're winning. We're getting no abuse. We're fine. You lot can stay there and be shit up in the top division on that ground. We'll stick to ourselves.
I go back. I tell him now just to fuck off for 2 months. I'll go back to Rennes in January. Like you're having for nothing. Just take him. I don't want him here.
I think the biggest thing for me with the game against Liverpool was, and I did mention it, we've got a player of the ability of Hernandez. He was warming up to that game. In the 70th minute, he gets substituted for Sacco, who doesn't want to be there. Now, you look at the balls that were coming in from Arnautovic, they were getting decent balls were coming in, and then the next thing you know, he's starting to get on the end of the corners, on the end of the set pieces, on the end of the crosses, and then the next thing you know, he's getting substituted from Sacco, who doesn't even want to be at the club, and I just don't understand it. That was finally on the coffin for me, to be honest, when it came to that. And I just hope the next manager comes in and for the first time in a long time can maximise the players that we've got to the best of their ability. And I mean, listen, do you know what, we're coming to the end of this. If we talk about the final question I've got for all of us is, and I'm going to start with yourself, Matt, who do you want and who are we going to get?
Who do I want? Anyone but Moyes. Anyone but Moyes, literally. Like I saw today, there was a thing that after Bilic actually got sacked, that Pardew would be interested in it. I'd take Pardew. Like I would take Pardew over Moyes.
Yeah.
But apparently it's too late. Apparently.
Look up your wires.
Like, apparently it's too late. Moyes was done. Moyes was already done at the weekend.
Yeah.
When he done that interview for, was it BN Sports or whatever, that Moyes did with Richard Keys, apparently at that point it was already done.
Yeah.
But he just denied it to be polite to Bilic because he didn't want to say, I've got this job before they've even sacked him.
Look, who do you want? Who are we going to get?
I was kind of a dreamer, and I still am a dreamer. And for me, if you're running the club the way you are running it, and you're promising what you are promising, you go for a manager like Ancelotti, you go for a manager like Hiddink or whoever is a good standard of manager. You go right out with the shit, in with the good. For me, that's bottom line. If you want to achieve anything, if you really want to achieve anything, and if they're going to do it the hard way, which is stay up for this season and then clock on next season and go with it, fair enough, whatever, I'm giving up with it now. But for me, it was only ever going to be someone like Ancelotti. Not Mancini. I can't buy it. I've seen Mancini mentioned in a number of posts and whatever on social media. I've read loads of it. I know yourself, Anton. Look, I don't disagree with you so much. I see what,
a lot of the stuff you read.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's not good. Yeah.
No, he's not very good with player egos and stuff like that. And it's like, well, do we really need that on top of everything else? That's probably one of the reasons why Bilic couldn't get the job. But yeah, for me, it was. I'm not a massive fan of Moyes, and I'd rather have someone like Ancelotti. But maybe I'm dreaming. It's just me dreaming.
Dan,
we missed a trick in the summer. We should have got rid of Bilic in the summer and brought in Marco Silva. That's who I wanted.
Yeah,
I think he's quality. Did a great job at Hull. Was doing bits at Watford. They're going to batter us when we play them, by the way. I'm just going to put that out there. I just think they will. You listen to Troy Deeney. They didn't fancy it, and we're like that in a minute, low on confidence. Who we should have got instead of Moyes was Hiddink. We should have. He would have come in for 6 months. I think he would. If you'd have said to him, you know, like, this is how much we're going to pay you, we'll give you a little bit of money in January, I reckon he'd have come in and done a 6-month job. But we all know it's Moyes. He's going to sign it. It'll be confirmed tomorrow, and we'll all be.
They're still giving him money though. That's the thing. Like, it's not that they're not giving Moyes money. I don't know what his contract is, but I know they've already said.
Yeah, but
regardless
can you compare
of where we finish, he gets £2 million for staying up.
Yeah.
Like regardless.
But that's the thing though. That's the thing that gets me. Like we're progressing to a Champions League club, but again, we're offering another manager another amount of money to try and keep us up from relegation. Like, how much money do they keep wasting from? There's a bonus. Like, to save us from relegation.
I think Daesh's contract was like, he had a release clause of £2.5 million.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to pay that, but they're going to give David Moyes $2 million to stay up.
Do you know what? I reckon,
just because he's 6 months down the line, and that's like next TV money, not this TV money.
I reckon they probably would have paid it, and they probably said to him, Daesh, we paid your thing now. Come and join us. You'd be going,
of course he would. Look where he's got Burnley. Why would he leave Burnley for us?
We can offer you 100 grand. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, see you later, guys. I'm alright.
I'll tell you something. Daesh is proving. I don't want Daesh at the club just now. I just think he needs a little bit longer with the situation. I take Daesh over Moyes, no questions. But my situation is he's being loyal to the club at Burnley, and like what you said, Dan, he's thinking, why am I going to leave a club like Burnley, come to West Ham, probably fail because the board aren't going to allow me to do what I can do, and therefore get sacked and then sit on the market again and then take another job elsewhere and have to build up the team. So he's showing loyalty.
A million times.
Yeah, and it happens with all the players. if you ask me the question of who I want Ancelotti. The reason we're not getting Ancelotti is because it's not realistic. We ain't going to spend money. And who I think we're going to get is Moyes. I'm disappointed that even other names we haven't even had a chance with, whether they've knocked us back or not, are Eddie Howe. Young, interesting, Premier League proven managers who are in there doing that kind of job. I would have taken Alan Pardew 100%, unfinished business. Like the idea of Pardew coming in. Not a big fan of Joey Barton, but I spoke to him this morning on TalkSport, a little plug there. And he was talking about when he came into Newcastle, he wasn't a fan, but he changed the way they played and he gave them a tempo above where they were having, and they performed really well under him. And he'd done that with us in the first couple of seasons. He's done it with most clubs he's gone to, apart from the fact he's been sacked. Probably sacked for reasons private reasons that we all probably know about.
Pardew has a thing where he comes in, he does good for about 6 months to a year, or a year and a bit, and then he goes downhill.
That's what we need. That's what we need. 6 months.
I think it's 18 months, isn't it? After 18 months, he just goes downhill.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll take that now. Yeah. So, guys, we're coming to the end, or have come to the end of Gift of the Gab. I'm pretty adamant there'll be a couple more videos. There'll be a couple more videos out this week, depending on the news that's coming out from the club. We've probably got more rants coming out. We've got some new guests coming on. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. All our links for our private social media things will be on there as well. Make sure you follow our partners at Umbro, and the official competition video will be coming out hopefully by the weekend. Please, West Ham owners, do not bring in Moyes. If you do, I will back him. If you don't, I will be happy. Just go and get someone we want. We are Iron United. Peace out.